Hello, Cardinals. We are investigation 6.1. Our unit focus question is still, how would a ball move if you threw it in space? Today we are doing observing force pairs, and we are going to be focusing on a fan car and show how that action-reaction force works in different situations. Before we do the investigation, we want to look back to getting started. You should have read Building Your Knowledge, Action and Reaction Forces. Then we discussed a bunch of questions. We're going to talk about those in class, which answers you wrote, and why aren't force pairs the same thing as balanced forces. We're going to discuss this as a group. Then the other objectives for the getting started was to describe the force between two different interacting objects. And number 5, explain the difference between action-reaction force pairs and balanced forces. So as you read yesterday, you should be able to distinguish between action-reaction force pairs and balanced forces. And we're going to ask you to write the difference in your notebook and give a written picture or example of each. So moving on to investigation 6.1, we're going to be doing objective 1 and 3, building a battery-powered fan car and making predictions about its motion, and determining the effects of balanced and unbalanced forces on the motion of a fan car. So there are 15 different steps to investigation 6.1. If you are absent, you should read through these and then watch the investigation 6.1 video so you can get information in your book. But step 1 is going to be to construct your fan car and make some predictions and observations about its motion with the fan off. After you do that, you should record how far you predict the fan will move if you push it and release it without the fan running, so just a car with the fan in it. Then you need to give the fan car a push, making sure all wheels of the fan car stay on the ground. And then you're going to measure and record the distance that car moved after you pushed it. You'll need to draw a diagram of all the force pairs acting on your car after you've pushed it. And there's a little diagram before the action force is you pushing the car, and the reaction force is the car pushes back on you. Step 5 is to repeat step 3 by pushing it in with different strengths. You're going to create a data table to neatly record the distances your car moves and the force at which you pushed it, so light, medium, hard, etc. And you'll answer the following questions using evidence from your observation. So you're actually going to cite some evidence from the previous step. And those questions are, what difference in motion do you see when you change the force when you push the car? Does the car change direction? How are balanced and unbalanced forces involved in the car's acceleration, speed, and or direction change? And when you push the fan car, did you observe that it was pushing back on you? So this is all stuff we've talked about over the past few weeks. And then looking ahead with 6D, thinking about how the car pushes back on you after you push it. You're going to think back to the first part of the unit when we talked about reference frames and think about how the positioning of where you observe affects the motion and what you see. And then you're going to talk about what reference frames other groups members have while they're watching the car in motion. And you're going to take turns giving the car a gentle push as other group members walk along the moving car. So you're going to watch the car move as you're walking along next to it, and you're going to describe that motion as you're moving at the same speed as the car. Step 9 is you're going to allow the fan car to lightly collide with the wall by being gentle and letting it go. So you're not going to smash the car, you're just going to lightly let it collide with the wall. And you're going to draw a diagram showing the force pairs acting on your car when it collides with the wall. And for 10, there are 3 questions to answer. Describing the change in motion, what pair forces are involved that cause the change in motion, and how the two forces are related. Do they occur separately from one another, or do you think it would ever be possible for them to occur separately from another? So you have to think about how force pairs work. Is it possible for them to be separate? Step 11, you'll investigate the motion of the car with the fan on. So you're going to turn the fan on carefully, and you'll place the fan car on a flat surface, and you'll hold it in place and turn the fan on for a few seconds without letting go. So you're actually going to feel the fan car pushing on you. You're going to take turns doing this so you can all feel the pressure. And after you've turned on the fan car, what direction did the fan car move the air? So now we're thinking about the direction of the air in contrast in which way the car is going to move. Step 12 is turning on the fan again, and then you're going to release the car with the fan running. You're going to observe the car and write a description of its motion. You're going to describe both its speed and its direction. So this is going back to meters per second squared or centimeters per second, meters per second or centimeters per second, depending on what you want to do. You'll have to draw a diagram and then discuss the car's motion with your group and compare it in motion with the fan turn off versus on. And then finally, number 5, this is a big one. Write a paragraph describing the conclusion that you can make from your observations during the investigation. You'll compare that fan car's motion when you pushed it with the fan off. So you want to compare the motion of the fan on and fan off. And you want to explain how reference frame affected the observations and how the fan car acted during the collision. So bringing it all together with step 15. Your to-do list for today, there are 15 of them. So it's a lot of things to get done. And I'm sure if you work quickly with your group, you'll be able to do that. And if you get any time at the end, you should prep for tomorrow by reading Investigation 6.2 in your book. If you have any questions, please let your teacher know. Have a great day.